y'all, it's Jessica from Swatches. Today I have the Little Mermaid collection from Femme Fatale Cosmetics. These are releasing for pre-order on the Australian website starting February 1st through the 5th, and then they'll trickle down to Stockists later in the month of February. I will link all of the Stockists down below in the description box. These do include Beautometry, Shiro Cosmetics, Live Love Polish, etc., so I'll have those linked down. This is a collection of 9 beautiful shimmery glittery colors, and I'll go ahead and get into the swatch and review. First up is an Immortal Soul, and this is described as a cool tone golden base with hints of shimmer, golden holographic micro glitters, and copper chrome flakes. All of that scattered holographic glitter really kind of reflects in jewel tone colors that makes this look like a treasure box. Super pretty. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and then I'll show you how an Immortal Soul swatched on my natural nail. So here is one easy coat. This one does go on nice and smooth, if quite sheer. You do get a good amount of that glitter, and that gold shimmer really builds up quickly. I think this is also going to be amazing as a topper. So here is one coat. I'll let that dry and then come back in for my second coat. So here is the second coat. This is definitely going to build all of that up. It's not opaque for me here though. Another thing that you could do is you could always use the sponge method and sponge it right on. I did get a large multi-chrome flake there towards my tip, and I really love it. So here is my third and final coat. I'm going to go in for a thicker third coat, but this does for sure bring this one completely opaque. This one is going to dry down just a tiny bit textured due to all of that glitter, but here's a look at the completed mani before top coat. So this is a very gorgeous bright gold on the nail. This is another view in direct sunlight with top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting. And once more at an angle in that direct sunlight. So next up is Built with Shipwrecked Bones, and I think I should mention here that this is inspired by the Hans Christian Andersen book as opposed to the Disney movie. This one is described as a pale green shifting that shimmers in a slightly blue tinted base with silver holographic accents. So this one does have a very strong shimmer to it. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Built with Shipwrecked Bones swatched on my natural nail. So here is the first coat, really easy to apply, not too thick or too thin, just goes on really smoothly. They are a little bit sheer though due to all of that shimmer. You're going to have to build them up a bit. It's totally worth it. So here is one coat that actually gave me pretty good coverage. I'll let this dry and come back in for the second coat. So here is my second coat. Again, that builds it up beautifully. The shimmer in this polish is almost metallic, and it really helps it build up to full opacity quicker. I think this is fully opaque for me at 2 coats. And you do get a ton of that green gold shimmer. So here's a look at the completed mani before top coat. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So next up is the Mermaid's Tail, and this is described as a sheer bright blue jelly base that gives way to a stunning array of green to gold shifting chrome flakes with gold and lemon holographic accents. So there's a lot going on in this polish. It's very strong scattered holographic there. This also has large multi-chrome flakes, which I love. So I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how the Mermaid's Tail swatched on my natural nail. This does have that teal kind of jelly base, so this is another one that you're going to want to build up. One coat gives pretty good even coverage. It is a little bit sheer though. With this one, you're just going to want to be mindful to get the flakes nice and spread out. That's really what's going to bring this polish to full opacity. So I'll let that dry and then come back in for a second coat. I'm going to do a nice thick second coat here, and I did get nice coverage. I decided to stop at 2 coats for this one. You could definitely go on and do a third one to add a little bit more depth. This reminds me so much of like seaweed, or like deep ocean waters. I'm really in love with this one. I think it has a perfect name. So here's a look at the completed mani before top coat. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in direct sunlight. Next up is Glittering Draught, and this is described as a luminescent seafoam green filled with small silver holographic flakes, red iridescent glitters, and pink shimmer. So this one is a little bit of a sheerer color. It's very bright. That pink shimmer is very evident on the nail as well. I'll show you a brush shot and I'll show you how glittering draft swatched on my natural nail. So here is one easy coat. This one went on so smooth, so easy. It is very sheer. You're going to have to build this one up a bit. But one coat gives me lots of glitter and lots of that shimmer. I'll let this dry and then come back in for a second coat. So I'm going to go in for a bit of thicker coats here just to get it more opaque quickly. 2 coats does build it up. It's still sheer here though. So I'll let this dry and come back and show you what a third coat looks like. So here is my third and final coat. I usually don't do more than 3 coats. I think if you have to do more than 3, it really should be sponged on. 3 coats brings it right to the edge of being opaque for me, and I do like the effect on the nail. So here is a look at the completed mani before top coat. I love that sea foam and pink combination. It's so soft and so feminine. Here's a view from a different angle with top coat in direct sunlight. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in direct sunlight. Next up is Dominion of the Sea Witch, and this is described as a bright teal crelly base with soft red glow filled with golden holographic accents and an array of red iridescent glitters. So this has that red to gold kind of iridescent glitter that shifts when you change the angle. This is one of my top picks. Really, really pretty. So I'll show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Dominion of the Sea Witch swatched on my natural nail. They do recommend that you do this one in thinner coats. Those iridescent flakies, the iridescent glitters rather, are on the larger side, so they tend to kind of buckle up against each other. You want to avoid that as much as possible. It will add a quite textured look to the nail. One coat has good coverage, but it's not opaque, so I'll come back in for a second coat. I did go in for a thicker second coat here. I really wish I'd gone thinner and done 3 because I did have some traffic jam of the glitters. It's no problem at all. A good top coat will help level that out, but you can see here on my middle nail especially. So here's a look at the completed mani at 2 coats before top coat. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with top coat. So this has that teal and pink combination just amped up more. It's much brighter, much more in your face. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So next up is Among Daughters of Air, and this is described as a sheer blue-based glitter topper. It has an array of silver holographic glitters, red iridescence, and shimmer. Even though this one is a topper, I'm going to show you how it swatches on its own. I think it built up beautifully just by itself. Here's a look at the brush shot, and I'll show you how Among Daughters of Air swatched on my natural nail. So here is one easy coat. This one is quite sheer on this first coat. You do get a good amount of that red shimmer, which is gorgeous, and all of that holographic glitter. This one is definitely one of those blingy polishes, so if you're into that, this one would be perfect for you. So here is the second coat. I'm going to go in for a thicker second coat. And this definitely adds to it, bumps it up, adds more glitter, more shimmer, more everything. It's not opaque, though, at 2 coats, so I will let this dry and then come back in for a third. So here is my third coat. This is a nice thick third coat, but this brings it right to the edge of being opaque for me. That pale blue base is really gorgeous. It reminds me of like Cinderella's glass slipper, honestly. It's super gorgeous though, and I love it. So here's a look at the completed mani before top coat, just at 3 coats on its own. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with top coat. This was afternoon sun, so it's a little bit more warm here than it would be in person. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in that direct sunlight. Next up is the Fallen Statue, and this is described as a blue luminescent base filled with pink chrome shifting flakes, fine silver holographic flakes, and silver holographic glitters. So this is a bit of a crelly formula as well. Go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how the Fallen Statue swatched on my natural nail. So here is one easy coat. Again, just really smooth, really easy to apply. That's the thing about these polishes. They do take a few coats to get completely opaque, but they're really easy to work with. So one coat is not opaque yet, so I'll let that dry and come back in for a second. Here is my second coat. I'm going to go in for a nice thicker second coat. You do get a nice amount of those multi-chrome flakies. And the shimmer on this one really builds up super pretty. This has a bit of a pearl feel to it. It's a little bit on the blue side, maybe even leaning into the gray area. It's not true white, but it is a really pretty effect. So here is my third and final coat. And this does bring this one completely opaque for me. Here's a look at the completed mani before top coat. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with top coat. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So next up is Pride Must Suffer Pain, and I feel like this is going to be the favorite top pick of a lot of people. It is definitely in mine. It's described as a turquoise to purple thermal with a faint red glow, holographic scattering, and aqua green shifting flakes. Those flakes are so pretty. I'll go ahead and show you a brush shot, and I'll show you how Pride Must Suffer Pain swatched on my natural nail. The formula on this polish is just flawless, super amazing, goes on nice and even. It's not completely opaque here by any means, but it does have a really great coverage and it's super easy to work with. So I'll let that dry and then come back in with the second coat. And this second coat is going to bring it completely opaque for me. It does get a little bit paler as it gets to that turquoise warm shade. So if you like more coverage, you could always go in for a third coat, but I think 2 coats is a really cool effect for me. So here is a look at the completed mani before top coat, and you can see that natural shift there to the cooler toned purple tips, and it's getting a little bit more turquoise towards my nail bed. Here's a look at the completed mani at an angle in direct sunlight with top coat. It is a little bit chilly here, so it definitely turned a little bit more of the purple shade. The thermal component in this polish is very sensitive. I'll go ahead and show you the shift. To the left here, I have a cup of warm water, and to the right, I have a cup of cold water. So you can see just automatically they shift. And this is what they both look like. I do have better photos of the shift on my blog if you're interested in that. I'll go ahead and show you what they all look like in the cool toned purple shade. And then once more in the warm toned teal turquoise shade. Super gorgeous both ways and really fun to play with. So this is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in direct sunlight. So lastly today I have Stars of Heaven Falling, and this is another one of my top picks. It's described as a multi-chrome base of purple, pink, and a hint of blue at just the right angle. It has scattered holographic particles and red iridescent glitters. You can see right along the edges of the bottle that very strong green shift. It does show up on the nails. It's really hard to catch though, and it has to be at an extreme angle. So here is a brush shot, and I'll show you how Stars of Heaven Falling swatched on my natural nail. This one is a little bit thicker than the others, but it goes on really smooth still. It has nice coverage. It's not gritty at all, and you get a good mix of all of those different types of glitters. So I'll let that dry and then come back in for a second coat. This second coat does bring it fully opaque for me. I feel like if you go in for a third coat, it is going to deepen up that color a little bit. All of my swatches today show 2. You can already see the gold, kind of the multi-chrome effect right around the edges. This is a predominantly purple polish, but it's really fun to play with. So here is a look at the completed mani before top coat. This is one that's going to dry down a little bit textured due to those larger iridescent glitters. Here's a view from another angle in direct sunlight with top coat. So this one is super sparkly. This is my swatch photo under artificial lighting, and then once more at an angle in that direct sunlight. So that wraps up today's swatch and review of the Hans Christian Andersen inspired Little Mermaid collection releasing early February from Femme Fatale Cosmetics. I will link all of their social media down below. If you're not a part of the Facebook group, you may want to think about getting in there. They do get early sneak peeks as well as other perks, and it's so fun seeing all of their creations. If you'd like to see more photos, I do have those available on my blog at sloppyswatches.wordpress.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at sloppyswatches. So thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.